I'm Anna.
And I'm Jake, and honestly, I love that today's topic sounds simple, because simple topics are usually where the most real conversations begin.
Yes. And before we get into it, can we just say something to anyone whose English feels a little messy lately?
Oh, yes, please. If your English feels slow sometimes, if words disappear when you need them most, or if your sentence comes out a little strange and your brain goes, well, that was not the plan, that is so normal.
Truly, please do not take those moments as proof that you are bad at English. They are not proof that you are failing. They are proof that you are learning. And learning is not always neat. Sometimes it is awkward before it becomes comfortable.
Yes, and let's be honest, vocabulary can be a bit rude sometimes. One day the word is right there in your head, the next day you need it, and suddenly it has disappeared.
Exactly. No warning, no apology.
Very poor behavior from the word, honestly.
It really is. But that is why we do this. We want English to stay close to your life, close to your ears, and close to your memory, so it stops feeling distant and starts feeling usable.
Right. So today, no pressure. You do not need perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, or perfect understanding. Just listen, enjoy the conversation, and take a few useful things with you.
Because progress is often quiet. Sometimes it is just, oh, I understood that. Or, wait, I think I could say that too.
And those moments matter. They may feel small, but they are real.
So, settle in with us.
And if you enjoy learning English this way through real conversation, don't forget to follow the podcast, subscribe to the channel, and give this episode a like. It really helps us keep making more episodes like this.
And if you're new here, welcome. We're very happy you found us.
Yes, welcome. We have English, opinions, and apparently some strong feelings about weather.
Which brings us very nicely to today's topic.
Ah, yes, we're talking about weather in English.
And maybe that sounds simple at first, but that is exactly why it matters. Weather is one of the easiest, most natural things to talk about in English. It comes up all the time.
With friends, with coworkers, with neighbors, with the driver, at a coffee shop, outside a building, walking into work, it is everywhere.
And that's good news, because it means you do not need some huge, clever sentence to start speaking. Sometimes real conversation begins with something as small as, it's cold today, or looks like it might rain.
Because, generally speaking, you should not walk up to someone and say, hello, please tell me your deepest emotional problem.
No, probably not.
Start with the weather, safer for everybody.
So in this episode, we're going to talk about weather in a real, everyday way, not like a classroom list, more like how people actually talk about it.
We'll get into weather and mood, weather and personality, weather in daily life, and why weather is such an easy topic for small talk.
And later, we'll also have a little word tour where we look at some useful weather words, idioms, and phrasal verbs in a simple, friendly way.
So you can actually remember them instead of admiring them once and forgetting them by dinner.
Very real.
And yes, this is a B1 level episode, so the English will be clear and natural, but a little fuller, closer to the way people really speak.
So if you do not catch every single word, that is okay. Just stay with us. Listen for the feeling, the rhythm, and the useful phrases.
And we want to hear from you too, so here's today's question for the comments.
What kind of weather do you love most? And what kind of weather changes your mood immediately?
Maybe you love rainy afternoons. Maybe you love bright, cold mornings. Maybe cloudy weather makes you peaceful. Maybe hot weather makes you tired. Maybe wind ruins your whole personality for the day.
Also very valid.
And tell us what the weather has been like lately where you live. We always love hearing from different parts of the world.
We really do.
All right then. You know, Anna, weather might be one of the few topics in the world that almost never fails.
It really is. You can say, bit hot today, and somehow that's enough to get people talking.
Right, because it is shared. No matter who you are, rich, tired, late, well-dressed, underdressed, we're all under the same sky. That is the whole magic of it.
Yeah, and shared things are easy to talk about. You do not need background information. You do not need to know someone's life story. You just need eyes, skin, and a basic relationship with air.
A basic relationship with air is such a low requirement, and yet very useful.
I try to be practical.
But honestly, that is why weather works. It belongs to everybody.
Yes, and that takes the pressure out of it. It is not personal, but it is not empty either.
And people talk about weather come rain or shine.
Right. If something happens come rain or shine, it means it happens no matter what, especially no matter what the weather is like.
Exactly. People complain about heat, notice the wind, mention the rain, comment on the cold, come rain or shine. Weather never really leaves daily conversation.
And I think that surprises learners sometimes because they hear talking about weather and think it sounds boring or too simple.
Yeah, but simple is not the same as useless.
Not at all. Simple topics are often the most human ones. They help people start.
And even one tiny comment is enough. Looks like it's overcast today.
Yes, overcast means the sky is fully covered with clouds, not just one or two floating around, more like one full gray layer.
Which already sounds like a real sentence, by the way. It does not sound like a classroom. It sounds like a person standing near a window.
That is true.
And that's the main point here. Good weather talk is not about sounding clever. It's about sounding normal.
And normal is underrated in language learning. So many people think they need a special sentence when what they really need is a natural one.
Yes, not the atmospheric conditions are unstable. Please no.
No, thank you.
Just looks like rain. Much safer, much more alive.
And that is why weather is such a gift for learners. It gives you an easy first sentence without making you feel like you need to perform.
Exactly. It is small, but it gets the door open.
And once the doors open, something else starts happening too. Because weather is not only social, it gets into mood in a very real way.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes I know what kind of day I'm having the second I look outside.
Same. Weather gets into your body before it gets into your words.
Like, a bright morning doesn't change my whole life, it just makes me feel a little less heavy.
That is such a quiet, realistic way of feeling better.
Yeah, I'm not aiming for a miracle, just a slightly easier start.
But it is true. Light changes things. The room changes, your face changes, your thoughts even feel a little different.
Right. The sky brightens up, and somehow your mood brightens up too.
Yes, brighten up means become lighter, happier, or more cheerful. The sky can brighten up, a room can brighten up, and people can brighten up too.
Exactly. It is one of those lovely phrases that works in more than one way.
And then you get the opposite kind of day. Gray sky, heavy air, slower mind. Not always bad, but definitely different.
Yes. Some gray days feel peaceful, others feel like your motivation forgot to arrive.
Very true.
It depends on the person, too. For some people, sunshine gives energy. For others, rain gives peace.
Yes, a rainy day can calm some people down. It can make the world feel quieter, softer, less demanding.
And that is why weather talk often becomes mood talk without people even planning it.
Exactly. Someone says, it feels gloomy today, and what they sometimes mean is, I feel a little gloomy too.
And then you get those days where you're not fully sick, but you're just not yourself.
Right. That is where under the weather fits. Under the weather means feeling slightly ill, tired, or off.
I love that phrase because it sounds gentle. It's honest without sounding dramatic.
And that's probably why people use weather language so naturally. It gives them a softer way to describe how life feels.
Yeah, weather becomes a mirror a little bit. Not always, but often.
I remember mornings when the air outside felt tired. And somehow I felt tired before doing anything.
That is such a real thing. Before coffee, before work, before the world has even spoken to you, the sky has already made a suggestion.
Today we move slowly.
Exactly.
But there is also something comforting in that. It reminds you that mood is not always random. Sometimes you're responding to the world around you.
Which is why weather feels bigger than just a topic. It affects energy, patience, focus, even how social people feel.
And once you realize that, the next question becomes more fun. Because if weather changes mood so much, maybe the weather you love says something about who you are.
All right then, here comes the suspiciously personal question.
Go on. You enjoy these too much.
I know, but they tell you a lot about a person. What kind of weather feels like you?
Oof. Rainy day. No hesitation. Give me gray clouds, a little wind, a warm drink, and a reason to stay near a window and think about life for absolutely no reason.
That is not weather. That is a full personality profile.
It might be.
No, but honestly, it fits you. Rainy weather feels thoughtful, calm, a little deep, but not heavy. That sounds very Anna.
I'll accept that. And I do love a brisk morning, too.
Right. Brisk means cool and fresh in an energizing way. Not freezing, just lively enough to wake you up.
Exactly. A brisk morning feels clean to me, like the day has not made a mess of itself yet.
That is such a beautiful and slightly judgmental sentence.
I stand by it.
I know what you mean, though. Some weather feels emotionally organized.
Emotionally organized is perfect.
Thank you. And I think I'm more of a sunny, breezy weather person.
Yes, that tracks. You look like someone who sees sunlight and immediately forgives life for several things.
For a solid little while, yes.
And bright weather can feel refreshing, too.
Yes, refreshing means something makes you feel fresher, lighter, or more awake.
So a cool breeze can be refreshing, shade after heat can be refreshing, even a person can be refreshing.
Which is why I like that word. It feels physical and emotional at the same time.
And I think that is why favorite weather says something about personality. Some people need brightness, some need quiet, some need freshness, some need softness.
Right. The weather you love is often the emotional atmosphere you enjoy living in.
That is so true. Autumn people and summer people do not always have the same inner world.
Not at all. Summer people arrive like, let's go outside, move, glow, live. Autumn people arrive like, please pass me a coat and a meaningful thought.
That is painfully accurate.
I know. And winter people are a different species again.
Very serious tea energy.
Very serious tea energy, yes.
But that is what makes this topic fun. You ask someone what weather they love, and sometimes they end up telling you what kind of life feeling they love too.
Exactly. It sounds like a light question, but it can reveal something warm and personal.
And then, of course, weather has another side too, because for every poetic weather person, there is also a human being carrying a jacket all day in frustration.
Ah, yes, the deeply inconvenient side.
Exactly, the rude side of weather.
Muggy weather is one of my enemies, honestly.
Right. Muggy means warm, humid, and sticky in an uncomfortable way.
Yes, and muggy weather makes everything feel harder than it should. You step outside for 5 minutes, and suddenly you feel like you have lived a full day.
That is exactly what it does.
It's the kind of weather that makes you wonder why you're already exhausted and it's only morning.
Very accurate.
And then you get days that are just unpredictable.
Yes, unpredictable means hard to guess because it changes so easily.
Which is how people end up carrying sunglasses, a jacket, an umbrella, and disappointment at the same time.
That image is too real.
Thank you.
Oh, I had that kind of day recently. Cool in the morning, warm by noon, windy later, then bright sun. I spent the whole day carrying things I no longer believed in.
That is such a dramatic and perfect way to say it.
I was suffering.
Clearly.
Suffering. But that is a very everyday kind of weather drama, isn't it? Getting dressed once and regretting it 3 times.
Exactly. And summer creates its own problems too. At some point, the whole day becomes about trying to cool down.
Right.
cool down means become less hot.
And in real life, that means doing whatever keeps you cool. Shade, cold drinks, fans, AC, even standing in front of the fridge like it's about to solve something.
Honestly, very valid behavior.
No, really, heat makes people creative. Wind is rude too, by the way.
Oh, completely.
Wind looks harmless from inside, then you step out and suddenly it is making decisions for your hair, your clothes, your bag, and your dignity.
Your dignity always goes first.
First and fastest.
An umbrella suffer the most. One strong gust and suddenly your umbrella looks like it gave up on life before you did.
A broken flower of disappointment.
That is such a poetic way to describe failure.
I try to honor the moment.
And rain has its own comedy too, especially when you leave the house feeling very confident because the app said no rain.
Yes, false weather confidence.
One of the saddest kinds.
I have absolutely been that person, leaving with certainty, returning 10 minutes later looking like life has corrected me.
That is such a familiar look.
And that is the thing. Weather creates tiny dramas that almost everyone understands immediately.
Yes, we have all been caught in it, dressed wrong for it, slowed down by it, or emotionally affected by it.
Which is why weather is not only useful, it is relatable. And that relatability is exactly what makes it powerful in conversation.
Yes, because weather is one of the easiest ways to start speaking in English without too much pressure.
Right, and this is where it becomes really helpful for learners.
The nicest part is that it does not need a clever opening. It just needs a normal one.
Exactly. Hot today. Lovely morning. Bit windy, isn't it? Looks like rain. Those are already doing the job.
And if you want to sound a little more natural, you just add one more human thought.
Like what?
Like, it's so hot today, I can't think properly, or lovely morning, makes me want to go out, or bit windy, isn't it? I nearly lost my notes.
Yes, that sounds much better than just naming the weather and stopping there.
Always aim to sound more like a person and less like a weather app.
A strong life rule.
I also love those hopeful small talk phrases like, maybe it'll clear up later.
Right. Clear up means the weather becomes brighter because the clouds or rain go away.
And that phrase is so natural. Hope it clears up. Looks like it's clearing up now. Might clear up after lunch.
And what makes weather such good small talk is that it can stay small or become bigger. You can leave it there or you can let it grow.
Right. Like, nice day today.
Yeah, finally.
Makes me want to go for a walk.
Oh, do you usually walk in the evenings?
And suddenly the conversation is moving.
Exactly. Weather opens the door and then curiosity takes over.
That is why it is such a good confidence builder. If speaking English feels scary, weather gives you a very manageable beginning.
Yes, start with something ordinary. Let the moment help you.
And that is also why tone matters here, because real weather talk is not only about the words, it's about how people actually say them.
Oh, no, not at all. Real people do not usually talk about weather in perfect textbook sentences.
Yes, this part matters so much. Real people add mood, opinion, complaint, exaggeration, all of it.
They say things like, this wind is rude, or this heat is too much, or the sky finally brightened up.
Right, and that sounds human because it has reaction in it.
Exactly. Real weather talk is usually half description, half feeling.
And little words help a lot too. So, a bit, finally, honestly, kind of. Those make a sentence sound lived in.
Yes, it's a bit gloomy. It finally cooled down. It's honestly lovely out. It's kind of nice today. Those sound like real speech.
And people exaggerate a little as well, which makes it more expressive.
As they should. I stepped outside and immediately regretted everything.
A very natural summer sentence.
Thank you.
Or, it's so muggy today. That sounds much more normal than trying too hard to sound formal.
Definitely. Formal weather English can sound strange in normal life.
The atmospheric conditions are unpleasant.
Absolutely not.
No one says that while buying coffee.
And this is important for learners because sometimes they think better English means more complicated English.
When actually, better English often means more natural English.
Right. Short, expressive, alive. Lovely day. Bit cold. Looks like rain. I'm glad it cleared up. This wind is annoying.
That is the rhythm people need to hear. Not perfect, just real.
And once you start hearing that kind of English, speaking feels less like performance and more like participation.
Which is always a better feeling.
And I think that leads nicely into the final idea, because weather is not only useful in the moment, it stays with people in memory too.
Oh, same. Very strongly.
Sometimes I remember the weather of a moment before I remember the exact words.
Yes, weather becomes part of the memory. It wraps itself around whatever happened.
Like certain evenings, certain mornings, certain walks. I remember the light, the air, the temperature, the feeling of the day.
A rainy afternoon is not just rain. It can become childhood, comfort, loneliness, peace, a certain room, a certain season of life.
And a bright, cold morning can become school memories, early starts, hope, nerves, new beginnings, all of that.
Which is probably why weather connects people so quickly. It is not only practical, it is emotional.
Right. Someone says, I love rainy days. And suddenly they're not only talking about rain, they're talking about the feeling rain gives them.
Or someone says they love crisp, sunny mornings, and somehow you can already imagine their energy.
Yes, their whole inner soundtrack becomes visible.
That is such a good way to put it.
And I think that is why weather talk never fully feels empty to me. Even when it's light, it still carries mood, memory, routine, comfort, annoyance, all of it.
It is soft talk, a gentle kind of talk.
Yes, not heavy, not too exposing, but still human.
And for English learners, that matters, because it means your simple sentences can still carry real feeling.
Exactly. Better English does not always begin with big ideas. Sometimes it begins with a very ordinary sentence said at the right moment.
Bit windy today, isn't it?
Or, looks like it might rain.
And then from there, life enters the conversation.
Which is why weather is such a beautiful topic for learners, actually. It is simple enough to use, but human enough to matter.
That is lovely.
Thank you.
Honestly, that feels like the perfect place to stop.
Yes. And before we go, let's slow it down a little and look at some of the weather words and phrases that came up naturally in today's conversation.
Yes, because once you hear them in real context, they become much easier to remember and much easier to use.
Exactly. So let's take a quick little word tour together.
All right, then.
Let's start with our first word from today's conversation, overcast.
If the sky is overcast, it means it is fully covered with clouds. There is no clear blue sky, and the light often feels soft, gray, or muted.
For example, the sky was overcast all morning, and the whole city felt quieter somehow.
Or, I actually like overcast days because they feel calm and gentle.
Repeat, overcast.
Overcast. Next, a very useful weather word, muggy.
Muggy means warm, humid, and slightly sticky in an uncomfortable way. It is the kind of weather that makes you feel tired or uncomfortable very quickly.
For example, it was so muggy outside that I felt tired after only a short walk.
Or, I don't mind heat, but muggy weather is much harder for me to enjoy. Repeat, muggy.
Muggy. Next, let's look at brisk.
Brisk describes weather that is cool and fresh in an energizing way. It is not painfully cold, it has a clean, lively feeling.
For example, we went for a walk in the brisk morning air.
Or, I love brisk weather because it wakes me up without feeling too harsh. Repeat, brisk.
Brisk. Next, a lovely word, refreshing.
If something feels refreshing, it makes you feel fresher, lighter, or more awake. In weather, it often describes cool air, a breeze, or light rain after heat.
For example, the cool breeze felt so refreshing after the hot afternoon.
Or, that early morning air was refreshing and made the whole day feel new. Repeat, refreshing.
refreshing. Next, let's look at unpredictable.
If the weather is unpredictable, it changes easily and you cannot trust what it will do next. It may look sunny one minute and rainy the next.
For example, the weather has been so unpredictable lately that I always carry a jacket.
Or, we planned a picnic, but the weather was too unpredictable to trust. Repeat, unpredictable.
Unpredictable. Now let's move to an idiom. Under the weather.
If you say you are under the weather, it means you are not feeling very well. You may be a little sick, tired, or low on energy.
For example, I'm feeling a bit under the weather today, so I think I'll stay home.
Or, she came to work, but you could tell she was under the weather. Repeat, under the weather.
Under the weather. Next, another useful idiom. Come rain or shine.
Come rain or shine means no matter what happens, especially no matter what the weather is like, you still plan to do something.
For example, he goes for a morning walk every day, come rain or shine.
Or, we said we'd meet on Saturday, come rain or shine. Repeat, come rain or shine.
Come rain or shine. Now let's look at a phrasal verb. Clear up.
If the weather clears up, the clouds, rain, or bad conditions begin to disappear. The sky becomes brighter or calmer.
For example, it was cloudy in the morning, but it cleared up by the afternoon.
Or, let's wait a little. It might clear up soon. Repeat, clear up.
Clear up. And finally, another very useful phrasal verb, cool down.
Cool down means to become less hot. We use it for weather, for a place, or even for our body after being in the heat.
For example, it should cool down a little this evening.
Or, I needed a cold drink and some shade to cool down after the walk. Repeat, cool down.
Cool down.
And those were today's weather words, idioms, and phrasal verbs.
Start small. Pick one or two and try using them in real life this week.
And tell us in the comments what the weather has been like where you live lately.
We'd love to hear from you.
Right. Take care of your English.
And take care of your heart. This is Anna.
And this is Jake.